Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar this morning. We're so happy to be co-hosting a webinar with Imagine Learning on how Martinsville City has turned challenges into successes. So we're very excited not only to partner with Imagine Learning, but to be highlighting one of our school divisions. And I know we have with us. I'm going to turn this over to Veronica for Imagine Learning so we can get started.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome. My name is Veronica. I'm your account executive here in Virginia. As Amy mentioned, we have Mr. Tyler Hunt from Martinsville joining the call. We also have Mr. Jose Tijerina. He's a national consultant with Imagine Learning. He will also share a quick overview of both solutions. Um, Thank you so much for being here. Let's make this a great conversation. Feel free to ask any questions as we go, and let's get started. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Veronica. So yes, as Veronica was saying, we had the opportunity to really partner with Imagine Learning on this platform. So we started out, and let me get my slide here. Here at Martinsville City Schools. We pride ourselves in that we are a very small division, but with that, we can do some very unique things being a small division. So we're located in Southern Virginia, but like most districts across the country, we face challenges that we feel anything but small. Staffing shortages, of course, we know that's a real thing. Limited course availability with that, and the pressure really to ensure that every student still has a clear pathway towards graduation. And that's something we believe in strongly. And we had in the past, we had tried some different platforms, but it really wasn't solving the problem that we really needed. And that was, for one, it wasn't just to check a box, but it was to ensure the graduation rate and to provide that diverse learning that we needed for our students. So our goal was to protect opportunities for our students. So the challenge, access versus capacity. So like I was talking about, teacher shortage is something that we see nationwide. It's something that is just not unique to Martinsville City, but it's something that is happening nationwide. With that, that makes limited course access for students. So with that limited course access, of course, that reduces the pathways for graduation. So now our graduation pathways are at risk at that. So what our students needed, these just weren't elective areas. These were actually core classes that our students needed for that graduation credit so that they could graduate on time. So Algebra 1, geometry, all of our math courses like that, our chemistry, health sciences, finances, all of those things that are real world skills that our students needed, not only to graduate, but they needed those skills also to ensure that after they left Martinsville City Schools that they were prepared. We even had the opportunity, not only do we receive the instructional services with Imagine Learning, but we also have our Edgenuity. How I like to distinguish both of those is that Edgenuity is more of the digital coursework or courseware, where instructional services is providing that human instruction, that human support that those students need. So instead of cutting course offerings because of not having the staff, we had a harder question. How do we even expand access without lowering quality? So when I kind of took on this new role. When I started out with Martinsville City, I was an ITRT, providing support with that, and then I was offered the opportunity to actually become coordinator of instructional technology, where I was over all of the instructional apps. So from the beginning of the year, this is the question I asked myself: how do we not only, okay, we're limited in our staff, but I want to go above and beyond that. I want to actually expand this access for these students without lowering any of the quality. So that's when we started looking out, and we wanted to maintain the rigor. Okay. Any solution that we came up with had to hold the same academic standards as a traditional classroom. No shortcuts or anything. The biggest thing was that it had to align to the Virginia standards. If we did not have that alignment to the Virginia standards, then there was no use to do that, because that was, again, going to lower the quality of instruction that our students was receiving. Another big item was supporting diverse learners. I wanted something to where it still was going to bring that differentiation, those pacing requirements, and would also allow these students, again, to be the same quality that they would receive as if it was in classroom instruction. So what this kind of led us to do, Martinsville, we began to explore digital courseware paired with instructional support services. So building the model. Course selection, student support, progress monitoring are the three biggest things. Not only are we offered all of those courses that the students need, but we receive those supports from those instructional services. Not only do we have mentors in the classrooms and our special ed teachers that provide support to those students, but we actually have that human support with our instructional services that we receive from Imagine Learning. And data. I'm a big data nerd. And the progress monitoring that Imagine Learning offers in their instructional services is wonderful. Their reports from Edgenuity all the way to the instructional services platform is out of this world. It literally, I mean, it's almost down to the point, how many times did they breathe during while they was, I mean, it's crazy the data that you can get so that you can continue to monitor the students. So this just wasn't about online learning. It was about structuring school day time, daily progress monitoring, teacher and facility oversight, and academic intervention. So to me, this platform is what really brought all of those real world classroom, human supported instructional services, but in a digital platform. And that's exactly what this program offers for our students. So again, just the monitoring piece. I mean, you have everything from time progress, assignment completion, relative grades, how the student is performing relative to where they should be, overall grades, actual grades, if students are on track, if they're ahead, if they need intervention, all of these things in that one platform that, Imagine Learning does offer. So what the data shows. So here you can see for our geometry courses, we had 100% completion. Our health science students completed 90 to 98% of their coursework with grades consistently in the 80 to 90 range. Chemistry grade range 70 to 90. Our chemistry students maintained strong grades while also progressing through a rigorous lab aligned curriculum. So here you can just see some more data. Average assignment completion versus overall grade. So here you see our geometry, 100%. Average overall grade, 89. Same with our health science. So you can see these numbers are not only are our students completing this work, but their overall average grades are up there too. And the partnership with Imagine Learning has been phenomenal. I have to give a big shout out to Veronica. Whatever I need, whenever I need it, she's always there. So the whole team at Imagine Learning has been wonderful to work with. And like I said, anything that you ever need, they're going to make sure they're there to answer it so that the students can continue to do what's, is to learn, right? And to make sure they're getting what they need. So to kind of wrap it up, the structure is phenomenal. It being aligned to the standards is 100 A plus. The data is awesome. Again, I'm a data nerd, so I'm going to focus on that more. But it's definitely there. It's phenomenal, and the partnership is phenomenal too. Like I said, the level of support the students not only get from the teacher of record, that actual human teacher they're getting in instructional services, but all of your coaches, all of the people that can help you along the way when you initially onboard is phenomenal. So again, these are kind of the biggest things that really have helped our students, and that's why I highly do recommend Imagine Learning if you're looking to combat some of those issues that you're having in your district. All right. I think that's my end. Anybody has anything?
Yeah, before we get started with looking at, the Tyler kind of gave us a theory to practice right there, is showing us the practice, how they implemented and how they, and some of that great data that came of the partnership. Does anybody have any questions for them before we jump into how the tools and how they made that work? And you can utilize the chat if you'd like, or just come off mic. You don't have to use your video if you don't like, but.
They're a quiet group this
Right,
morning.
group, yeah. Hey, well, that's all right. Well,
And I know it's a lot of information that was thrown out because it's so much, and but any questions you have, feel free to reach out. But yeah, I know that was a lot of stuff being thrown out. But
hmm
I'll ask a question if you don't mind real quick. Did you all, maybe you mentioned this and I missed it, but what grade levels, what grade span did you work with for this? Are you looking just high school or did you lean down to elementary as
well, yeah. So we purchased for middle and high, but I will say that far as the instructional services go, and the Edgenuity courseware, was mainly focused at our high school students.
Good question. Well, now you should be able to see my screen too. And again, please, feel free to come off mic. You can interrupt me and keep it very conversational here. Uh, and you can, if something strikes you as it relates to Imagine Ingenuity, the instructional services, as it relates to what Tyler was delivering, please come off and ask your questions. Veronica can also kind of chime in too, where if you have a question for her or be in the chat, be monitoring that as well. So again, you should be seeing my screen here. My name's Jose Tiarina. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm natural curriculum consultant with Imagine Learning. And before I came to Imagine Learning, I taught in a pretty large metro Atlanta area district for about 18 years. Well, I taught for 10, but I was with the district for 18. And then for those final 8, I moved into federal programs where we utilized a lot of Imagine Learning product to really supplement our curriculum and to really reach our diverse learners, and then also, look at expanding that access and equity throughout the district for our students. We had about 180,000 kids there, so utilizing some other things were pertinent to success, and some of that same success that we saw there that Tyler shared with us today. So. Like Veronica said at the beginning, we're going to look at a pretty broad overview of Imagine Edgenuity, and then we're also going to look at a pretty broad overview of the instructional services that come along, that can come along with it and be implemented in your courseware. So really, Edgenuity, and Tyler said it great. He said, Edgenuity is that courseware platform, the tool that was being utilized, whereas the instructional services is the human side of it. So we're going to kind of see how those interact. And if you have questions, again, please let me know. We're going to look for first at some courses and the customizations that can be made by your teachers to really make those courses their own. We'll look at a little bit of the student experience, how it's going to land on your students and how they'll interact with the platform and what it'll look like. And then Tyler gave us some great insight onto that teacher and admin experience as far as data and reporting goes, to really being able to monitor that student progress. And then we'll wrap up by just touching briefly on instructional services. So, again, broad level, very broad. And if you want to, you can reach out to Veronica and we can set up another call, one-on-one call, where we can dig a little deeper into the product and into particular implementation practices that maybe instructional services would bring to your district. So, and Tyler mentioned, at the very end there and throughout his presentation, talking a lot about the Imagine Learning team, being able to wrap your arms around your district and your team, from your account executive, Veronica, to your customer success manager, who's going to be there for initial rollout, onboarding, making it smooth, making everybody feel ready to go with the kickoff, to the professional learning specialist and extended support team. That's going to be there to take your teachers through ways to implement the product, support teachers will need in data and deeper implementation dives, and then also just a wealth of resources to guide you along your way. So you're never on your own there when you're implementing product, right? So when we talk about professional development, it's flexible, it's focused. Teachers are getting the training that matches their needs, whether it's initial onboarding again, or those deeper dives into pathways, or using data to really drive instruction. Our professional development there is aligned to your goals and your needs. Um, Now, Tyler mentioned a little bit about the implementation models, and that's really one of the key to implementing Edgenuity, the flexibility, right? It can kind of fit into however you want it to, whole class, small group rotations, computer lab sessions, intervention periods, after school programs, extended learning programs, the flexibility being the major advantage there. It's going to integrate into your existing structure rather than requiring you to redesign a schedule. And then also, in partnering with the human side of it, the on-demand tutors or the state certified teachers, your students are still going to get that extra support, no matter the implementation model you subscribe to. So, and Tyler really said it best. We're not replacing teachers. We're expanding access to that good support, and really, in the end, freeing up some time for your teachers to do really important work with those students, building relationships, more one-on-one time, and intervening where needed. So, the implementation model is really what you make of it, right? Now let's talk about like some of the courses and customizations and what that looks like. So, as soon as the students dive in, they're going to see things that you're looking at here, right? Our courses feature rigorous, explicit instruction led by expert on-screen teachers. It's motivating, it's media-rich content. We know it's the TikTok generation. So we take that into the design and build it out so students have opportunities to explore and build. They're not just getting black print on a screen, right? They're gonna take virtual field trips. They're going to interact with different types of multimedia, primary sources, secondary sources. And then that's going to take them through a wide range of tasks. And that's going to include independent reading practices, depending on that subject. It's going to take them through guided online exploration. It can be assigned projects for more honor level courses and performance tasks to really help reinforce understanding. And then that's all going to be wrapped around formative, summative, and authentic assessments that are going to help measure that mastery of the learning objectives. So, again, how do we do it right through the design of these research-based practices, right? The Edgenuity courses are built on the idea that students can learn effectively online just as they can in traditional classrooms. And in some cases, the diverse learner, today's diverse learner, they learn better online. It just speaks to them better. So every course is grounded in those four research-based principles that you see there on your screen. That instruction is systematic and explicit. It's really going to help students acquire practice and apply skills through that modeling we saw on the screen previous. And then scaffolded supports are going to be there with frequent checks for understanding. Second, the coursework, it promotes deep learning and metacognition by encouraging students to monitor their thinking, reflect on their learning process. And then third, that multimedia and the use of graphic organizers are intentionally built in throughout their coursework to reduce cognitive load so students can focus their working memory on the learning itself, not just the content, but we want to help build learners so that they can see that stamina and they can really monitor their self-learning. And then finally, every lesson incorporates universal designs principles, right? Giving students multiple ways to engage with the content itself to demonstrate their learning and really show what they know. And Tyler mentioned the course offerings, right? What they utilized weren't just electives, right? So imagine Edgenuity is designed with a flexible digital courseware platform in mind, right? Mainly for grades 6 through 12 with supporting credit recoveries, initial credits, honors, and electives, things of that nature. In addition to those, we also have offerings in test prep, courses that we call virtual tutors, where students can go in and take a diagnostic and then get individualized, personalized pathways into what they need based on those particulars for what test prep courses we offer. Those are self-paced design courses, but all of these align to your state standards. So I do want to share briefly your course list. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here. And again, if you're interested, we can share this with you. And this is where Travis and his team really pulled from to decide on what they were going to offer to their students. So our curriculum team updates this regularly to keep aligned with any changes in curriculum, any changes in your state standards. So you can see here the core curriculum and electives, right? You got your four core, and then those general electives as well. Advanced placement courses that can be utilized. Here's where you'll see those Virginia test prep courses that I mentioned earlier from 6 on through high school. Again, diagnostics give you that personalized pathway for students to really get up to speed quickly in those virtual tutoring prep courses. And then we also have some national test prep courses as well for ACT, SAT type of courses. A lot of our partners like the character education pieces and especially the world language courses that you see here. So to be able to expand those offerings is a big deal. And then we have career and technical education as we kind of scroll on through there. A large offering in CT&E. So again, we can send that to you. Veronica can send that to you if you're interested, and you can sit with it and see what there is that's offered. Now, let's get back to the core content where we see course splits, right? Our core content is available in three versions: credit recovery, an initial credit, and honors courses. So there are some key differences as it relates to those three courses and in those offerings, and we saw some of that in Tyler's data, right? The first key difference is the number of teacher graded assignments, right? Credit recovery is going to have fewer, and then it's going to move on up throughout those different offerings. The second is going to be that average hour seat time per semester. On average, you have 40 hours per for your credit recoveries, and then that's going to move up and bump up to about 10 hours per, each additional offering through initial credit to honors. And then finally, when we're talking about credit recovery, probably the biggest distinction here is going to be that Edgenuity offers a pretest at the lesson level, right? And what that does, the student's going to take a short pretest at the beginning of each lesson, and that's going to help them determine if they need to go into the gradual release of responsibility, explicit instruction, and learn that lesson, or if they can master out of it and move forward in their credit recovery. And that's going to greatly reduce that 40-hour seat time and help students recover that credit faster. We don't want them to go back and have to sit through things they've already learned. So it's also going to boost and maintain that engagement. Again, a huge differentiator, unlike numerous competitors of ours, we pretest at that lesson level, not at the unit level or at the end of a module, right? Again, really big differentiator there. And then as far as course customization option goes, this is where your teachers can go in and really make the course their own. Reorder lessons, add or remove activities, insert units, create questions or even teacher created content they can embed into those courses. You can customize change in grade weights and adjust number of assessment opportunities for those students as they're looking to show their mastery. Again, a wealth of ways that teachers can make the courses their own. Now, before we jump into student experiences, are there any questions out there about kind of a brief overview of what the courses and customization offerings there are out there, unique to Edgenuity in those courses? Again, you can ask in the chat or come off mic. All right, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the student experience if nobody has any questions. And please feel free to interrupt me at any time. So let's take a little closer look at that student view and explore what learners will encounter throughout their Edgenuity journey. Um, Again, we talked about that centerpiece of the lesson being this direct instruction, the modeling on screen. So once they come out of that, they're going to go right into that instructional design and they're going to be hit with this course map right off the bat. So every time they enter a lesson, it's going to be super familiar to them, right? The instructional design is going to take them through that gradual release of responsibility. They're going to start off with a warm up, and oftentimes that warm up is a brief introduction to what is about to be learned, introducing key concepts, introducing key vocabulary, and things of that nature. And then from there, they're going to move into the instruction piece. And the instructional side of it, that's where they're going to get the majority of their time spent. Explicit video instruction, teaching them what they need to know. That's that I do portion of the learning. And then from there, they're going to a brief summary section where they're going to review and connect to what they've learned, getting them prepped for the assignment. And the assignment is where they're going to practice and apply those learnings. Okay, and then that's where they're going to spend, another good amount of time interacting with those item types that we saw earlier on your screen. And then the quiz is going to wrap it all up. 10 randomized questions from a bank of questions there in the offering, depending on the course. You're looking at about 30 to 40 questions total. So if your teachers do want to give them a few opportunities to show that mastery, which is pretty unique to credit recovery, you're able to do that. And it's going to be about 3 or 4 times through until they're going to repeat that same question. So a good opportunity there to show what they know. Now, the way that we support students, Tyler talked a little bit about student supports, reaching diverse learners while still keeping it rigorous, right? Um, let's talk a little bit about those supports. One of our partner favorites is our fillable guided notes. Every lesson in that core is going to come complete with a PDF that models strong note taking, right? So if a diagram or a map or an image appears, it's going to appear in the same way in those students' guided notes. Students can print these or they can use them online in a side-by-side format as they navigate the lesson, and it really is going to help them keep them truly engaged in their learning. We even have some partners that print those and have students hand them in for completion grades. Another great way to utilize that feature. Um, More student supports, right? On top of the instructional expert instruction there, the explicit instruction, that's a significant advantage for your struggling readers, your visual learners, your auditory learners. Uh, we're not just presenting text, right? Students see and hear the strategies in action. So if you want to listen in, let's listen into this teacher demonstrate continuous and discrete graphs uh, in the lesson here.
Your equations based on real-world scenarios. But to do that, you're going to need to know the difference between continuous graphs and discrete graphs. So on the left, we've got a continuous graph that starts at the origin and moves
So again,
upward to the right.
that's
And
just a
on the
great
right, we've
example
got
of how our
discrete.
teachers annotate on the screen, explain their thinking out loud, and students get to interact not with just text, but also that video. So that's a key feature there to all of our lessons. Another one that students will have access to is the pause, play, and replay functionality. Again, our courseware is gated, so students can't skip through and click through. They have to go in that linear fashion of completing each particular piece. But they are able to pause and stop, take their notes, and then replay what they've already heard. Another thing we do well is chunk. We chunk the lessons out in these instructional segments so they're not sitting through a 30-minute, 20-minute video. The videos are anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes before an embedded check for understanding kicks in, and students are going to be able to interact with the program to show what they know, to make sure that they're still focused, paying attention, and that the instruction is concrete in their minds. Again, that segmented piece is followed by some closed captioning that's embedded in the program as well, so students can turn those off and on and follow along with the videos as they need. Some further student supports. We know that students are active participants in Imagine Ingenuity, and in that learning environment, we provide them with tools to engage with the content. So the digital notebook helps students stay engaged here by taking e-notes. They can save those notes. They're embedded with the course, and they can access them later on, and teachers can too for review as well. Additional tools like the highlighter, text to speech, and calculator are also there for your students to interact with for further supports as we look to reach each learner, give them tools to access the content. Again, students will have access to equation editors or other subject style tools. In English language arts, it'll be a grammar handbook, formula banks and science, maps, timelines, diagrams, and social studies and history courses. And then also we have the glossary where they can utilize and look up terms and have those terms read aloud to them, as well as the transcript. Every video has a transcript and is able to be printed offline so they can use it there or follow along as that video is being played. Another great functionality of the transcripts, and really every print on the screen, is the ability to translate that print into 60 plus languages. They have access to this integrated translation tool, which can translate text passages in the languages that you see there. But also with the highlight in text to speech functionality, the seven languages you see at the bottom are six languages, including English. The system can read those aloud as well to your particular students that need that support. Now, as they move through the instruction, right, we did talk a little bit about the assignment phase. These are some of those challenging item types that are built into every lesson depending on the subject. They're there to support mastery, really get students interacting with the program, and also familiar with some of those assessment style drop downs, text entry, inline choice, multiple choice selection item types that they'll see on standardized tests. So again, they're built into those courses that they're enrolled in, and it'll kind of interact with them in that assignment phase. And everything here that you're seeing is automatically graded. So again, it's going to grade objective assessment like multiple choice, matching, fill in the blank questions. That means the scores populate instantly, as Tyler was showing you in the dashboard, where their teachers can then look at the grade book. They can look at the progress dashboard without teachers needing to manually grade that routine work. It's really going to free them up with more time to focus on feedback for deeper tasks like essays or project-based learning, while students get that immediate feedback to keep learning and moving forward. So again, valuable teacher saving time there. So as far as the supports go, do any of those supports jump out to you as something that could be greatly utilized in your classrooms and your buildings? Again, feel free to utilize the chat. And Tyler, if you had anything you wanted to add about your students utilizing any supports and where you saw some of that great success, please feel free. I'm practicing my teacher wait time here. That hasn't completely gone away from me. I don't see anything in the chat. All right. Well, I'm going to move on then. Again, please feel free if something strikes you as you're jotting anything down about those student supports, about the way we engage students with that rigorous content, any of the other tools within that platform that you have questions about. Please feel free to ask. But let's talk a little bit about the teacher and admin experience that Tyler mentioned in his presentation, right? I do want to talk a little bit first about academic integrity and that commitment here at Imagine Learning. So we've talked a lot about the students and the work that they'll be completing throughout the semester. Now, I know it's vital and important to know that understanding the teaching is impactful, but that the work is truly authentic. The work that's being submitted is in truly authentic work. So that's an important component, right, to the staff experience here. And we have several features that are going to help detect and prevent students from cheating or helping teachers springboard conversations on ways to utilize tools that are out there in today's learning environment. So we'll look at how we control access, plagiarism detection. We have a generative AI detection as well, and speed radar that really helps teachers have these conversations, these powerful conversations with students about those priorities and policies. Now, first, this is kind of a background uh, control of student access, right? Through these three Proctorio lockdown browsers, secure lock browsers, and IP registries, you're able to really lock down where students are accessing content, how they're accessing it, where the exams are popping up, and where they can complete that work. So with Proctorio, that's a browser extension that's going to block user scripts and bots on assessments, on Edgenuity assessments. It works on both district managed and student owned devices, and our team can really help you set that up on your particular environment. And then we have the Secure Lock browser as well. This feature prevents students from opening new tabs, so it's going to help them stay engaged with the content. Again, it's going to open up in a kiosk-like mode, keeping distractions at bay for your students. And then there's the IP registry. That's one of our partners' favorite ones because it's a behind-the-scenes control that really ties student activity to approved network locations for quizzes, unit tests, and things of that nature. So when they're outside of the school network, those quizzes aren't activated. When they come upon a quiz while working at home, for instance, if you have that allowability, the system will bypass it so that the students can continue their work, but then they'll be presented with an assessment as soon as they get back to school and in a safe networked environment. So those are three ways that we help control student access with districts. The other two tools I mentioned previously, the plagiarism and the generative AI detection tools, these tools generate a downloadable PDF report from the teacher gradebook that's going to give a summary snapshot of where students may have plagiarized or potentially used artificial intelligence, right, for any written submitted work. And it's going to do that automatically. So teachers don't have to go in and upload the submission on their own to a third party. Anything that's submitted in the program, short writings, essay type writings, are going to have this functionality, right? The plagiarism feature identifies student work where they may not have submitted their own authentic thoughts, and that report is going to detail types of plagiarism broken down into percentages, like you see up here in the top left corner. And then it's also going to give you the links and the percentages of where they might have pulled that from. And then your permission educators can scroll through this PDF report and they're going to see something like this. This is the plagiarism report content where it's going to show a heat map of that student work, what they submitted, and then where it has identified plagiarism. Again, it's not really a gotcha. Instead, it's just helping teachers have that strong conversation with students on the importance of paraphrasing and utilizing their own words to express their understanding and express their ideas. And that other piece in that PDF is going to be the AI content detector report. Again, a heat map. This poor student in this example used a lot of AI generative writing to submit. Again, understanding that your dedicated teachers know their students the best, they know their work the best. This scan is designed to help make those judgments about student submissions and guide them through having conversations with students around the ethical practices of using AI as it relates to your district's policies, right? So again, a great tool to really help showcase the importance of using AI as a tool. And then I talked a little bit about the speed radar with this particular package. This is a unique tool to imagine learning and Edgenuity, and it can be used to show lessons activities where students progress faster than normal, right? This could either be an indication of low engagement with the coursework and they're just clicking through to get it done. Or in some cases, it's the use of cheating software like a bot. So as you can see, once you get the flag, you click in and it's going to pop up and show us that Wanda in her Spanish 1 course had spent a total 29 activities. She completed 29 activities, but only in 21 minutes. So again, prompting that conversation with the student to see where they're at in their learning and see what's going on with this particular speed radar flag. There's other reports too. Tyler briefly talked about these, and the wealth of reporting is really at your fingertips because we've provided so many, right? The powerful insights that can be used here and the comprehension reporting tools offer that real-time data on student progress, engagement, and achievement that Tyler was mentioning. So it really makes it easier for educators to monitor learning outcomes, identifying any at-risk students, and personalizing their instruction before they possibly might need that credit recovery. Report Builder is a great one that our partners love because it's a very customizable report where you can drill into any metric and have it on a regular Excel export and utilize it towards whether you need to talk to your boards of education about usage and justifying expenditures. That report can help you do so. Then you also can drill down into class or course group. The educator dashboard is where your teachers will spend a lot of their time. Flagged with alerts, they're able to click in to see where students might need another assessment unlocked or another opportunity to show mastery on those pieces, or they've submitted coursework that needs teacher review. Again, these reports can really help teachers and students alike stay on progress to gain mastery, to gain impact in their coursework. And then you can drill down a little more granular as well with the individual reports, like this student course report here. It's there. It's going to show the actual grade, the relative grade, their overall grade, their course completion, how much time they've spent, and this can be set up and emailed to those student advocates on a regular basis. It can be weekly, monthly. You can share it with counselors. You can share it with other teachers. You can share it with family members as well. So a great report. But we have a ton more, and our team is there to help your team really dig through those reports and see what you would love to utilize as far as keeping every student on their path to success, celebrating any growth, and then also addressing any challenges that may pop up early. So, any questions about the student side, the teacher side? We know there's companies who try to do the same thing we do, but with our content and our platform, it's something that really sets us apart, really. Any questions about the instructional design and the rigor there, or how we support students, the ease of customizations in the courseware, or any of that actionable real-time data that we have at your fingertips before we talk about the human side, Tyler?
I will add that I think to the course structure piece, I think the biggest thing is the customization. Not only, yes, we know with instructional services, you receive that human support, but the teacher and the mentor that are in the classroom, as well as the SPED teacher, you have that autonomy to structure that to kind of how to customize it the way you kind of want. You can go in there under settings of course options, and you can really customize what that looks like. You can even customize it down to the grades that you want, even customizing it down to what kind of notes are available to the students, pre-test options. So I think that piece has been really nice, because in other traditional virtual platforms that we've had in the past, you just don't have that customization. You basically have to use what they are giving you. Whereas with instructional services and the Edgenuity courseware, you can customize that piece. So I think that has been real nice for us.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's what we hear a lot from our users, and teachers love to utilize those courses from semester to semester or year to year once they've archived that course. And if you want to dig a little deeper into customizations, we'd be happy to sit down with you and look a little deeper into that if that's something you're interested in. But one of the other things that the platform does really well too is it allows teachers to create, if they already have some nice content that's been created. They know that it's worked, it gets high student impact. They can embed it into this particular platform, and students would engage with it through that project upload as well. So it's not just our platform. We really want to make it user friendly, but also through customizations, give teachers that autonomy to still do what they do best, right? So let's talk a little bit, I guess, if nobody else has any questions or comments. we can move over to a little bit more about the school services side. Again, a brief overview of what this looks like, the people side of it, right? How can you utilize it? How can you implement it in your districts? And a little bit of how maybe Tyler did as well. So again, it's more educators for your district, right? We're not looking to replace staff. Again, we're there to supplement, expand courses, help start virtual schools, summer school, dropout recovery, students with unique needs, staffing shortages, all of that, right? Through a flexible implementation model, it's going to design to meet district's goals, district's needs. And so it's not a one size fits all model. Again, our team, we have a unique team that will structure and tailor the implementation to meet you where you are, right? Maybe you need to fill 5 middle school math vacancies for the semester. Maybe you need bilingual tutors for targeted reading intervention. Maybe you're struggling to meet IEP minutes. I know when I spent a little time in HR in Gwinnett County, we could not get special ed teachers in the building fast enough. So whatever the challenge is, you might this is going to give you that flexibility to choose where you deploy your support. And what does it look like then, right? So there's some different models. Every Imagine Learning instructor is state certified, so unique to Virginia, unique to all the states, right? And it's trained online and blended learning pedagogy. They have an average of about 17 years of classroom experience. And again, districts often use our partnership to fill those vacancies, but also use the instructors to expand those course offerings, especially in advanced subjects or even world languages, right? Our employees serve as the official teacher of record for that course. So they're going to manage attendance, they're going to manage grading, communication and progress with the building leaders, just as they would as a teacher in your building. So for our teachers of record, through 6 through 12, again, they're going to work tirelessly to ensure a successful implementation of Imagine Edgenuity curriculum with your students. They support students' work and are dedicated to the team there. They average, again, those 17 years in the classroom and are able to support your students with over those 300, 400 standards aligned courses that we saw in that course list. And what are they going to do, right? They're going to utilize the data that we looked at earlier to really help students with that coursework. They're going to monitor the activity, like I mentioned earlier, and that course attendance. They're going to grade and handle the grading for those activities and give feedback to students where they need. And then they're going to also offer progress updates to the students and the staff that's part of that student advocate team uh, throughout that coursework. And then they're going to communicate that, right? They're going to communicate it back alongside the staff so to make sure that they're supporting the students in their educational journey. Now, again, we have another functionality as well called IntelliSync, right? Which is essentially our intelligent synchronous instruction. So this is going to be, it's going to blend the online coursework now with a live weekly led teacher session. Okay. And that lesson, the students are engaging with the Imagine Learning courses independently throughout the week. But once a week, they're going to meet for 50 minutes of live instruction, small group tutoring, or one-on-one support. Again, so here, the difference being the teacher is there and instructing them via the virtual classroom, right? They can be in a computer lab, they can be in a classroom with a paraprofessional or whoever it might be monitoring the attendance and things like that. But our teacher is going to lead the 50-minute live instruction, getting them ready to continue to work through that coursework. So these teachers will use assessment data to personalize lessons for those students in the session. They're going to adjust the pacing as needed and provide targeted intervention for students through office hours, right? Whether it be small group sessions or those one-on-one sessions, it's really going to make this an ideal situation for hybrid or lab-based implementation. So that's what IntelliSync looks like. And then to kind of round it out, we also have on-demand tutoring that can help support Edgenuity coursework. Again, all these tutors are based US based. They're Imagine Learning employees and they're available over 80 hours per week. They receive rigorous vetting, they receive training, ongoing PD, and then the hours there that they're available for your K through 12 core the 6th through 12th grade French and Spanish courses, or those national test prep courses that we saw earlier. They're going to be there during those times, right? 8 to 10 on the weekdays, but also on the weekends. So it's really like sending home a teacher with your student all the time, right? And this is what it's going to look like for them once they get into the once they get connected with the chat and the tutor, and that's going to happen in about 30 seconds. They're going to interact with the students in real time through chat messages or a two-way audio call. That two-way audio call is only initiated by the tutor. And then again, they're going to have access to this active interactive whiteboard where the the tutor's going to chat with them and teach and walk them through the problem, not just give them the answers, but they're trained in talk moves that are going to show them how to get learning and get understanding and out of your students and really help those misconceptions be put to rest. So again, another great feature of how we utilize the human side of the platform as well. So I do want to say thank you, letting us be in here, carving some time out of your no doubt busy days. If you have any questions, Tyler, if you'd like to say anything, we're going to be here for a minute, answering any of those questions that you may have. So thanks a lot. Thank you.